What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Single Guy FAQ. I'm Lloyd, your single guy. The question I have is, how do I know if I'm wasting my time with a girl? So you're at the bar, you walk up to a girl, and you guys start talking for a little bit. How do you know whether to break things off and maybe go talk to another girl, or to keep pursuing things with that particular person? Well, you have to establish like what your goals are. First of all, if you're trying to go home with someone that night, which chances are, if you're the average viewer of this channel, that's probably what your goal is. If that's your goal, then you definitely got to gauge whether she's going to be down to do that night. The best thing that I have, even if you're not trying to go home with anyone that night, or you're just trying to um, you're just trying to find someone who's like very interested. You want to try and move them. And so what I mean by that is, if you go somewhere and they move with you, like you say, hey, I'm going to go get a drink at the bar, or it's too crowded here. Can we go talk over there? If they do that with you, instead of saying, I think I'm cool, I'm going to stay with my friends, or no, I'm good here. If they move with you, that's a great sign, man. A girl won't move with someone she's not interested in, especially, and if she leaves her friends too, that's an even bigger sign, man. I mean, if she leaves her friends, that's like, whew, that's the best thing that you can get, really, because she's basically like putting her safety almost in your hands. She's trusting you that much because she likes you enough. And that's a really good thing if someone's willing to do that. Some of the things that I've written down, the one I just gave you is probably it's not a foolproof reason, but it's damn near close. Like, I don't know of anything else, a better test that I would use. In fact, sometimes I'll go out and if I'm being lazy that day, I'll go up and talk to a girl for maybe like 30 seconds. And then I'll say, hey, it's kind of crowded here. I'm going to go over there. You want to come with me? And if she goes with me, then awesome. If she doesn't, whatever, I'll go talk to the next girl. That's if I'm being lazy, because basically it's like, if the girl's willing to move with me, okay, I'm going to put some effort into it because she's clearly interested, and that's clearly someone that I should be spending time with. That's if I'm trying to go home with someone that night and I'm being like pretty lazy. If she is talking to you, like, let's say, if she's with a group and she's definitely spending the most attention on you, that's awesome too. If you get that girl who's kind of looking around, seeing what's happening, checking her phone, that's not a great sign, man. She should be focused on you, especially if other things are going around and she's focused on you. That's great as well. If you kind of start talking to her for a little bit, like, let's say she can't pay attention to you because you both are kind of looking at the bartender or like trying to get his attention or whatever, and you're both talking back and forth, and you're kind of listening to her. If you watch my video on how to have good conversations, the number one tactic is listening. So if you're listening to her and she's talking to you a lot, that's really good. And then additionally, if after that she asks some questions about you, like, I don't like to introduce my name if I don't have to. If she says, hey, what's your name? Or like, hey, where are you from? Or something like that. Dude, that's really good too, because she's actually showing interest literally by asking questions about you. She's not going to do that with someone that she's, not really that interested in. I will say this though, if there are some girls that you'll meet out there that just like to be the center of attention, they just like to talk to people and get all their ideas out, and they're honestly kind of annoying sometimes. But those types of girls, you got to be wary of them, and they're not going to give you any more than they give anybody else. And the way you can kind of gauge that is by moving them, dude, or seeing how they react to you. So what I like to do is, if I'm just talking to someone, maybe like inch forward just a little bit, see how they react. Do they stay there? Do they move back a little bit because they want to keep that distance between you two? If she stays there, then that means she's comfortable with you getting closer to her. Maybe she'll be comfortable with you getting even more closer to her. You want to make it a little bit of a flirting game where like you kind of go in and come, it's a little bit of a dance, but that's a great sign. That means you should be talking to this person because they're definitely interested in you. If you move back, does she come with you? That's another great one too. So you kind of have to use these tests to see where a girl is at. And that's really where a lot of game comes in, because look, being able to read people is probably what separates the men from the boys in this area. Guys who can read women really well, which most guys aren't good at reading women, that's going to really set you apart from other people. And it's a tough thing to do. And the way you do it is by kind of doing these little tests that I've talked about, where you try and move them, you try and see if they maintain eye contact with you, see if they're asking questions about you and that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's your job to be proactive and keep the interaction going, but you have to see if they give something back to you. If they're not giving anything back to you, man, you're wasting your time, and you should be spending time with people who are going to give something back to you for sure. The biggest thing that messes people up, I would rather have a lot of rejections than have this in the night. If a girl is talking to you for a really long time and you think like, she's interested or whatever, and she just like, you guys go on for hours back and forth, and maybe you might even be having a really intellectual conversation. It might be, you might be thinking it's going somewhere. And then the night ends, she's like, well, it was okay, it was nice meeting you, and then just walks away, you don't get her phone number, you don't get anything. If she moves with you, that's a good sign, but I think if she probably won't leave her friends for sure. That's a good way to measure it, but also if she's being just polite and not taking it any farther. Like if it's just a common, courteous conversation and she's, she might be just trying to be nice. A lot of girls with boyfriends do this because they're not looking for anything. The fact that they're getting an awesome conversation with someone is like a win for that night for them, because they're not single. They're not able to do the other stuff that the girls are doing that are single. So if we're having a conversation with a cool guy, dude, that's awesome for them. That's probably the best it could possibly be, for them in the night, because they're not going to meet anyone if they're happy with their boyfriend or whatever. So I would just be, wary of that if they're just being polite and not nice. And I think the best way is, try and see if she moves with you. Anyway, that's all I got. This is a really big topic about reading people. It's one of the most important things, like I mentioned. So I'm going to post more videos about this. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that you thought that I could improve upon, this is a growing video podcast and FAQ area. So I'm trying to make sure this is good and informative for you guys. So just let me know in the comments section below, and I'll respond. Anyway, good luck out there.